Hello, welcome. Today I'm going to talk about building healthy boundaries after family violence. Hi, my name is Diane Simboro, and for the past 10 years I've been working with survivors of violence to help them go from just surviving to actually thriving. So I just finished watching a series, Chicago PD, Police Department, on Channel 9 app. And the reason I mention this is because there's a relationship between a mother and a daughter that is of interest. I've watched it once before and I was just fascinated by this relationship between the mother and the daughter. So the mother has a history of drug abuse and instability, and she was not there for her daughter during her childhood. Not there at all. In fact, it was her daughter who did more parenting and protecting than the mother did, much more. And why did the daughter do this? Because she knew she had to survive and that her survival was linked to her mother. So she did all of those things, and that's what children do when they have a parent who has mental health issues or drug issues or some sort of issues. They will do anything to help their parent. So what developed as a result of that childhood, what developed was a mutual dependency that carried through to the child's adulthood. And the mother ended up coming to the daughter, the adult daughter, each time she got into trouble, which was often. And she had the expectation that the child would fix the problem as she had in the past. So there was this dependence. So who benefited from this relationship? You know, if you ask yourself, who benefited and who suffered? Yeah. So why did the daughter continue to protect and defend her mother, as children do, even though it only meant a continuation of the nightmare that had been the story of her childhood? Okay. I think the loyal heart of a child is never to be discounted. It's so strong. So it all comes back to rescuing. You know, want to rescue an abusive partner, wanting to rescue your child, wanting to rescue an extended family member, wanting to rescue a longtime friend, whoever you want to rescue, you know, like to try and save them from the pain that they're heading for. Yeah. So why do we need healthy boundaries after family violence? Why am I talking about that today? Because within family violence, the boundaries have been non-existent, or they've been shattered, basically. So abusers do not believe that their partners or their victims have the right to self-determination. They believe that the person's life is their possession, and that person should be completely under their control. Okay, so it feeds the perpetrator's need, or the abuser's need, for power and control over that victim, to help them. And why do they do that? To help them feel good about themselves. By dominating and controlling someone else, they feel empowered, yeah, over the top of someone else, but they feel empowered, even if it's at the expense of the other person's freedom. Okay? So it's like climbing on top of someone, crushing them, and feeling good about it. Yeah. So if you don't establish healthy boundaries, there is no recovery, because you'll only end up bouncing from one destructive relationship to another. So establishing healthy boundaries is absolutely vital in the recovery process. So giving a toxic person access to your life, okay, means opening yourself up to a very rocky ride, okay? And you are not the driver on this ride. You are simply a passenger being carried along in the direction that person is taking you. Tagging along with them and seemingly supporting them supporting what they're doing, okay, even if it's not intentional. But that creates a situation where you can also carry the blame when things turn out badly, and they usually do. Yeah. So not only have you become a fellow traveller along a questionable path, you have unintentionally become a supporter and reinforcer of their path choice. Okay? So when things go pear-shaped, toxic people displace the blame for their problem onto the person that is in nearest proximity to them, usually a loved one or someone that they proclaim to love, but I would question that. So if you really truly want to serve a toxic person, if you're a rescuer or a helper, if you truly want to serve someone who is toxic in their effect on your life, instead of rescuing them, it's necessary to step back and create a healthy distance from them. That's the start of your boundaries, okay? Their problems are their own creation, not yours. They will learn nothing about self-management if there is always someone nearby who is willing to rescue them and, most importantly, spare them from the consequences of their poor decisions or actions. So if you're always there to spare them from those consequences, there's nothing to learn. So helping, in inverted commas, so we're all helpers. So what is helping in inverted commas? Helping is handing full responsibility over to your loved one, your child, your friend, your colleague, whoever that is, whoever they may be, and standing back, okay? They will fail sometimes. We all fail, but sometimes they will actually get it right. Even a broken clock, they say, is right twice a day. Their failures should be their own, and equally so should their successes. We all have failures and we all have successes. They should be something we can claim ourselves. All of us need to build a track record of success. All of us. Because that's where self-esteem and confidence develops. So all of us need to understand the lessons made available by our failures. That shows us how to do things better next time. It helps us to plan a better path and a better approach next time. So it's a learning curve. That becomes the blueprint that we use to ensure we can get more successes in the future. We can plan things better. Okay? So what do I mean by the word success? What does it mean? So success in a relationship is where there are mutually beneficial outcomes. This is what perpetrators don't understand. A success in a relationship is where there are mutually beneficial outcomes, as opposed to the I win, you lose approach of toxic people. Okay? Very different. Taking every experience, be it good or bad, as a growth opportunity. So seeing everything as an opportunity to grow rather than a problem that you have to displace onto someone else's shoulders. Seeing every experience as a challenge that has rewards instead of a problem that has to be avoided. So it's a slightly different approach. It's just a different approach to the same issue, So if we are attached to people by an umbilical cord, especially a toxic person, we can claim, or anybody in actual fact, we can claim nothing as our own. Okay? This is why establishing healthy boundaries is important. So if we're attached by an umbilical cord, we can claim nothing as our own because we're so attached to that person that we don't know where we start and where they end. Okay? Healthy boundaries are exactly that. They're healthy points of separation between two lives that allow both people to flourish and thrive. Okay? Without that healthy separation, you don't know who's responsible for what. So letting go of the toxic people in our lives is a gift to ourselves, and it's also a gift to them. It becomes the feedback that they need. They need to know They can't continue to dominate and control someone else's life. And it becomes an opportunity for them to create positive change in their life. Okay, and the healthy separation also helps us to be able to create a positive change in our lives. Okay, but that positive change for a toxic person or abuser can only happen if they choose to take that opportunity. Unfortunately, they sometimes don't take that opportunity. So if they don't take that opportunity, maybe that is their lesson. Maybe that's the lesson that they need to learn. But it's not a lesson that you have to be there for or that you have to nurse them through. That is their lesson and theirs alone. Having someone riding along with them at that time is not going to help them. Okay? You should be too busy living a life that is fulfilling and enriching after you've been through family violence to bother to help them. Okay? When you eliminate toxic people from your life, what you are doing is you're making space for better people to enter into your life. If that space is taken up with toxic and abusive people, no one wants to be around. So create space by eliminating and creating healthy boundaries and separation from those people. And then you have an opportunity to invite better people into your life and therefore to have a better quality of life. Okay, so that's about my message for today. I hope this is helpful. One more thing to look at after family violence, establishing healthy boundaries and why it's really important, really, really important. Okay, please leave a comment or follow me so you don't miss a live. And remember, recovery takes place just one step at a time. Thank you for joining me today. See you.